So hello, good evening or good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this video right now. For this lesson, I'm gonna I'm gonna discuss the second module of your the second lesson of your module 3, which is the merchandising business financial statements. So for the final exam, the topic will only be from the lesson 1 of module 3, merchandising business, and this merchandising business financial statements. But for this lesson, we are only going to discuss the statement of financial performance because other mostly the financial statements of a merchandising business as well as the manufacturing business are the same, except for the income statement or the statement of financial performance. So for at the end of this lesson, you are expected to be able to compare the income statement of a service concern and a merchandising business. You should be able to analyze and solve different problems regarding the income statement and be able to prepare income statement of a merchandising concern. So here you have been presented with the nature and concepts of merchandising concern in business. Now you are tasked to compare the income statements of merchandising company from service company. So here from a service company standpoint, the income statement will just um show the revenues from the services. You just have to deduct the operating expenses. You will now have your profit. While in a merchandising company, there would always be net sales minus or you deduct the cost of sales, and that would equal the gross profit or gross income. And again, you will have to deduct the operating expenses, then you'll come up with a profit or a net income. So the difference is that in a merchandising business, you should always account for the cost of sales or yung cost ng mga imong gibaligya. While sa service concern, wala yan because they are selling services. So walang cost of sales there. That's basically the only difference between the two. So here in your analysis, you were required, but I didn't really I didn't really give you the task because I think you already know the reason or the answers to this question. So why explain why financial statements are prepared. So the answer for that is that because we in a business there will be stakeholders or the people that would have interest to the business. So you really have to prepare financial statements because they wanted to know if their investments are doing well or if they want to invest further to the business. And the owners also want to know if the business is doing fine, what's going on with the business. So they can know that or they will have that information in the financial statements. How does the financial statement of merchandise and business differ from that of a service concern? The only difference is on the income statement because they in a service concern they don't really account for the cost of sales or the cost of services. There are cost of sales but not necessarily a big concern. While merchandising business is that there will always be cost of sales, which again are the costs that are the cost of the items that they are selling. Thus, third question is, does the information in the financial statement relevant? Of course, all of the information in the financial statement are relevant. Walang irrelevant doon because everything that's in the financial statements are going to be used by by the creditors, the shareholders, and the other people that wants to know about the business. Now we have here an example of income statement of a merchandising business. So these are all assumed figures. They have gross sales worth of 1 million. They deducted sales return and sales discounts from that sales. Now they will have they will now um they will now have the net sales. So gross sales minus the purchases, sales returns and allowances and discounts, you will now have your net sales. Then the net sales will then be deducted by the cost of sales. And the formula for the cost of sales would be merchandise inventory beginning plus the purchases plus the purchase returns and discounts. You will have your net purchases. You add your transportation in, you will have the net cost of purchases. So that net cost of purchases, you will have to add that to your merchandising inventory. Then you will have the total goods available for sale. Again, you have merchandise inventory beginning here. Tapos yung because you have you have merchandises, you will also have purchases, and you deduct returns and allowances and discounts. You will have net purchases. Then you will add the transportation in, which is the cost of transportation that you've used to purchase such items. Then you will have net cost of purchases. Then the net cost of purchases plus the merchandise inventory beginning, you will have the total goods available for sale, and you will deduct the merchandise inventory ending, which are the inventories or the merchandises that were not sold at the end of the month or at the end of the period. And you will have your cost of sales worth 250,000. So from net sales minus the cost of sales, you will have your gross profit worth 720,000. And after arriving at the gross profit, you will now have you will have to deduct the operating expenses, which are the expenses that has been incurred for the normal cost of operation of the business. Then you will have your net income. So this is the um sample of an income statement of a merchandising business. So again, the only the income statement is presented here in this lesson, since other financial statements are just the same with the service concern. So to practice that knowledge, let's answer application 1. We determine the missing elements of the income statement. So direction, replace the letter blanks with appropriate amounts. So the first number 1 column, you have net sales, merchandise inventory beginning, net cost of purchase, goods available for sale, merchandise inventory end. You have cost of goods sold, and gross profit. So since we already know that the goods available for sale is merchandise inventory plus the net cost of purchases, you'll have to work back lang. So if 110,000 yung goods available for sale natin, and we have net cost of purchase na 80,000, of course, if we work that back, 110 minus 80,000, you have merchandise inventory of 30,000. So merchandise inventory 30,000 plus net cost of purchases, you have goods available for sale of 110,000. And of course, i-deduct natin ang goods available for sale for merchandise inventory and of 40,000, we will now have 70,000 cost of goods sold. So 70,000 yung cost of goods sold natin. And if we work back, we already know that net sales minus cost of goods sold. So we already know that net sales minus the cost of goods sold is gross profit, right? So gross profit yan siya. And net sales is not available. The information here is not available. But so let's work it back. 50,000 the gross profit plus the cost of goods sold 70,000. The net sales should be 120,000 because net sales minus the cost of goods sold should be the gross profit. So 120,000 minus the 70,000, you have the gross profit of 50,000 pesos. Then let's proceed to number 2. Let's answer the column 2. So we have merchandise inventory of 50,000 beginning, and the goods available for sale is 160,000. So missing yung E, missing yung net cost of purchases. So we just work it back. 160,000 minus 50,000. Of course, our net cost of purchase should be 110,000. And now, since missing din yung F natin, yung merchandise inventory end natin, and we already know that goods available for sale minus the merchandise inventory should be cost of goods sold. So we just have to work back. 140 minus 160, you have merchandise inventory of 20,000 pesos. So again, we work back na naman because the net sales in number 2 is not given. So 40,000 The gross profit, we already know that cost of goods sold, I mean net sales minus the cost of goods sold is gross profit. So, i-work back natin, 40,000 minus 140, I mean, plus 140,000 cost of goods sold, your net sales should be 180,000 because again, net sales minus the cost of goods sold should be your gross profit. So on and so forth. You can practice solving this because ganito yung exam natin. You can practice solving task 1, A and B. You just have to fill it up. Work back lang siya. So, yeah, basically your module assessment wa- was your task for this lesson, right? So, yeah, this is from lesson 1 and lesson 2 of your module 3. So, if you have any questions regarding the financial statement of a merchandising business, especially the income statement, you just have to contact me on Facebook, PM me, give me a DM or anything like that. Again, we will not be discussing other financial statements because they are basically the same from our previous topics. The difference lang is on the income statement. So we give importance to the statement of financial performance or the income statement. So I will not upload modules anymore because yun lang yung end of our topic for this semester. So yeah, that's it for tonight. I hope you learned something from this. And good night, or yeah, good night.